Hi everyone, this is Darius from Self-Archeology.com. Today I will analyze three of Eminem's songs and how they portray his personal life, especially his childhood and his relationship with his parents. The first song is called Sing for the Moment. I was very into it when I was a teenager because it resonated with me on many levels. And even though at the time I wasn't fully conscious of its meaning, I still somehow felt emotionally connected with it. I had a lot of sadness, hurt, anger, loneliness, and helplessness in me, and I could feel it through music. And one of the main reasons why I am recording this video and future music analysis videos is to help you understand why you might like some particular song or artist. Because often there's a reason deeper than just, oh, I like his voice, or I like piano music and this song has it. So, going back to Eminem's Sing for the Moment. It starts with, quote, "These ideas are nightmares to white parents, whose worst fear is a child with dyed hair and who likes earrings," unquote. Why is that the worst fear for a parent? Well, number one, it shows that they failed as parents because these are the symptoms that the child wants to be visible, meaning he was neglected and abandoned, and to express his painful emotions, meaning he was abused and feels hurt. Number two, dyed hair and earrings are signs of femininity in our culture, and many parents have homophobic tendencies and they are afraid that their child is gay. And number three, it's fearful to the parent because their child is a teenager now and it's very hard for them to control him because he's bigger, physically stronger, and less dependent. Quote, like whatever they say has no bearing, unquote. Further, Eminem says, quote, "It's so scary in a house that allows no swearing," unquote. Why is that so scary for a child? It's very scary because he's not allowed to express his anger and pain. Repressed emotions are very dangerous. In the next sentence, he is dissociating by listening to loud music via his headphones and releasing some of his emotions this way. He's alone in his narrow private space. He feels isolation, coldness that could represent emotional numbness, and indifference. Then he calls himself, quote, "a problem child," unquote, because most likely he was called that many times, and by internalizing it he feels guilty and ashamed that, quote unquote, he has problems. Then Eminem reveals that his father abandoned him, and says that he hates his dad for it, and blocks him out. Blocking out can mean that he doesn't want any contact with him, or that Eminem mentally blocks his father out, or both. Then Eminem expresses his just rage towards his father, who abandoned him and left him with his insane mother. Quote, "If he ever saw him again, he would probably knock him out," unquote. Further, Eminem says that his thoughts are whacked and that he's mad, and that's the reason why he's talking back. Here you can see a typical example when the child is not allowed to express his discontent with his parents, and is labeled mad because his thoughts are disorganized, his true emotions are repressed, and therefore he feels confused and acts out. Then Eminem points out that parents of such child blames music and black, i.e. different culture, for their child's quote-unquote problematic behavior. Then Eminem reports that his stepfather physically abused him, and one day he hits him back and breaks his nose. You see, when your child is small and very dependent, and you want him to obey, you hit him, and he obeys. It's all good. But when he's bigger and stronger and he defends himself, then it's shocking to the abusive parent. Remember? Quote-unquote rebelling, i.e. non-compliant child is, quote, their worst fear, unquote. Then Eminem says that his house is a broken home, meaning A, that his father abandoned him, his mother is insane, and his stepfather abuses him. And B, his house is a place where there are no rational rules, no safety, no consistency. It's broken. It's a physical and mental chaos. So he justly has a lot of painful feelings that he wasn't allowed to express, and, quote, he just lets his emotions go, unquote. This verse was the most important part of this song. I won't be analyzing other two verses, so let's move on to the second song. The second song is called Cleaning Out My Closet. This song for some reason never clicked with me. I've listened to it just a couple of times probably. But its lyrics are very revealing, so I've chosen it for this video regardless. And now, reading the lyrics, I feel a lot of emotional connection with the song. The first verse is not that interesting, so let's go to verse number 2. It starts with Eminem saying that he has some personal secrets that he wants to free himself from. He says that before he was rich and famous, he was a baby, and his father abandoned him when he was just a couple of months old. Early parental abandonment is extremely traumatic for the child. So no surprise that Eminem feels a lot of anger and rage towards his father and wishes that he would die. He looks at his daughter, and since he is in touch with his anger and his hurt regarding his father who left him, he is able to empathize with his daughter, and he can't imagine ever leaving her, regardless how difficult his life is. If you feel empathy towards your child self, you feel empathy to the same degree towards others, especially children. You can read more on that in my article called Empathy and Laughing at Others' Misery. I'll put the link in the description box below. Now let's go to verse number 3. Eminem feels ambivalent about talking quote-unquote bad about his mother. Remember, you're not allowed to express discontent towards your abusive parents. And this irrational rule invokes guilt, therefore blocks anger and grief, and prevents from fully processing the injustice that has happened when he was a child and his mother abused him. However, Eminem is able to express some of his anger towards his mother. He reveals that his mother was addicted to medication and suffered from Munchausen syndrome by proxy. Munchausen syndrome by proxy is a mental condition when a caregiver acts as if an individual they are taking care of has a physical or mental illness when in fact they don't. And Eminem explains it explicitly. Quote, my whole life I was made to believe I was sick when I wasn't, unquote. Then Eminem says that he's an adult now, he's rich and famous, and it makes his mother sick to her stomach. It's very interesting that Eminem chooses these specific words. She acted as if he is sick, and now his success makes her sick. Remember this line, quote, it makes you sick to your stomach, unquote. It will reveal even more details when we get to the third song. Anyway, next Eminem reveals that his mother recorded a CD for him so that she could justify her abuse. But Eminem sees through it, and he knows that his mother is getting older and she feels lonely and cold. Remember in his song Sing for the Moment, Eminem said that he is alone and it's cold. So when he was lonely and felt cold, his mother wasn't there for him, and he was dependent on her. Now, his mother is getting older and weaker, so she needs him to take care of her. But he is her child. It's not his responsibility. She's a grown-ass woman. It was her responsibility to protect her child and take care of him, and she failed. Even if she were a great mother, the child still has no obligation to take care of his parents when they are old, if he or she doesn't want to. And she abused him severely, so why would he in his right mind want to take care of this insane abusive woman? Eminem also adds that Nathan, Eminem's half-brother, is growing up, and he will see her phoniness too. And furthermore, Eminem says that his mother will never see his daughter. Quote, she won't even be at your funeral, unquote. Then he says that what hurt him the most is that his mother denies that she was a bad mother and that she wants his money. Fact, his mother sued him for $11 million for defamation. Eminem expresses his anger by calling her a selfish bitch and saying that he hopes she will burn in hell for that. Further, he reveals that when his uncle died, he shot himself. His mother said she wishes that it was her son, Eminem, instead. What a cruel thing to say to her child. It's mind-boggling. The verse ends with Eminem saying that he's dead to her. He doesn't want her in his life. However, the hook of the song says that he hasn't fully resolved his relationship with his abusive mother and still feels guilty. Quote, "I'm sorry, Mama. I never meant to hurt you. I never meant to make you cry," unquote. He has nothing to apologize for. He's the child, she's the mother. He's not responsible for her well-being. She was responsible for his well-being. Again, this is the same toxic mentality where the roles are reversed and the child is held responsible for quote-unquote hurting his parent and is not allowed to express his hurt and resentment. I have written several articles about this and you can find them on my blog too. The third song is called My Mom. This song is very new to me. I just listened to it literally for the second time now. But it's also very open and direct gateway to Eminem's relationship with his mother, therefore it is a good choice for this video, I think. Basically, in the song, Eminem talks about the fact that his mother was an addict and fed him various drugs on a regular basis. This is extremely abusive to the child. She put Valium, Xanax, and other drugs in his food and forced him to eat it. And Eminem says that's the reason why he became a drug addict in the first place. Now remember the sentence from Cleaning Out My Closet. Quote, "My whole life I was made to believe I was sick when I wasn't. Till I grew up, now I blew up, it makes you sick to your stomach," unquote. Now compare it to this line from my mom, quote, "She sprinkled just enough of it to season my steak, so every day I'd have at least 3 stomach aches," unquote. His mother tried to convince him that he is sick and fed him drugs regularly, so he had constant stomach ache. Now he's big and famous, and this, according to Eminem, quote, "makes you, his mom, sick to your stomach," unquote. Consciously or unconsciously, his choosing of words is not accidental. Psychologically, this is brilliant. Next, Eminem says that his mother didn't care about him, which is evident, and he feels hurt and angry. And he says that his teacher also didn't care about him. She thought that he is doing drugs all the time, while in fact he was drinking alcohol and his mother fed him pharmaceutical drugs daily. The second verse starts with Eminem saying that his mother fed him pain thinner, and did it multiple times. Further, he talks about the fact that she forced him to eat food full of drugs and verbally abused him, and threatened to throw him in the basement. Again. So it happened multiple times too. And the word throw implies strong physical force and huge power and equity. All of this is extremely scary and traumatic to the child. He is convinced by his mother that he is sick. He is forced to take various extremely harmful drugs. He is verbally and physically abused. His life is enormously stressful and very dangerous. The verse ends with the fact that his mother steals his child support money too. In the third verse, Eminem reveals the fact that his mother gave drugs to their family dog too, and killed it. She's insane, she's just insane. Further, Eminem talks more about his mother mixing drugs into his food, threatening him and forcing him to eat it. Eminem tries to fight back. but his mother is also trying to guilt trip him. Quote, "Take a little piece and beat it before you wake Nathan up." Unquote. Like it's his fault if his brother wakes up hearing his mother threatening and abusing Eminem. And of course, Eminem, like any child, has no choice but to comply with his mother's abusive behavior. He agrees to take drugs and describes the symptoms they have on him. Quote, "I'll start wobbling, stumble, hobble, tumble, slip, trip, then fall in bed with a bottle of meds." Unquote. The verse ends with a reference to Heath Ledger, who died of a drug overdose. Of course, falling in bed with someone or something metaphorically means that you are very close to that thing. This could mean that Eminem is saying that because his mother fed him drugs on a daily basis, he developed a very close relationship with drugs, and this might lead to the same road that late Heath Ledger took. So, in summary, Eminem's childhood was very difficult, and it explains a lot of issues he has in his adult life. His father abandoned him when he was just a baby. His mother was extremely abusive and just insane. He lived in constant danger. He had to move from one place to another very often. He was poor, so there was no safety, no stability, physically and mentally. By letting himself feel valid rage towards his parents, he has processed some of his trauma, but he still has unjust guilt and can't fully accept that his parents didn't love him, and that it's okay to feel the way he feels. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. And if you have some suggestions for my future videos or articles, feel free to contact me via email or Facebook. You can find my contact information on selfarcheology.com. If this video was useful, please share it. If you want to support my work, consider donating. Have a nice rest of the day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.